What's up guys, Brian here with Live Fix Love, and I'm going to do a walkthrough on my ViAir Ultra Duty air system that I have installed in my truck. It's already set up and installed, but I'm going to walk through, show you what I did and the setup that I used, where I put it, and all that good stuff. So let's go check it out. Alright, got the 2017 F350 here, and we'll start out with the compressor setup. Alright, I put it on the passenger side, and when you're down low you can actually see where it's mounted. Still plenty of clearance out of the way, so let's get in there and see what it looks like. We'll start here with the compressor and the mounting. So I actually made some brackets so I didn't have to drill into the frame, and used U-bolts to connect it. So I bought these 2 feet bolts, I guess. They're 2 feet long, just straight bolts, or 2 feet long straight bolts, and I heated them up and bent them so they would fit around the frame. And I added these little rubber pieces just so I didn't have metal on metal scraping the frame up and exposing it and all that good stuff. And then I bought a 4-foot piece of steel here, and you can see it's probably inch and a half wide, and I cut it into 4 pieces, foot each pretty much. I painted it, and you can see where some of the paint got scratched off, and then just drilled holes on either side for that U-bolt to bolt into, and then 2 holes for the compressor to bolt into. Did 2 of them for the compressor, and I did 2 of them for the tank. So you'll notice on the tank I did the opposite. I put the U-bolts over the top and brought them down because I wanted the drain plug on the bottom, and it just fit better, and it was way easier to mount in this setup, or in this configuration. So here's the metal piece, foot-long metal piece that I cut from a 4-long piece. Just bolted them up, connected them, got the little rubbers on there. So this is the other side of what the compressor would look like. I mounted the compressor upside down because if I mounted it in this configuration, it just hung down too low for me, and I wasn't happy with it, especially with it being silver. It stood out really well. So I was just happier with it upside down. All right, on this side of the tank here, you got obviously the compressor inlet where it fills it up, and you got the pressure switch where it shuts it on and off at the appropriate PSI, all wired up, and I'll show you the wiring configuration once we get into the cab and under the hood, and I'll also draw all the air hoses and the wiring system up and show you how I got it wired. Here's the bung to let the air out. I do have it with 2 rubbers on this side and 1 on this, so there's a slight tilt back just to, when I drain it, to let any of the water out. All right, and these are the feed lines on this side. It's got 2 feed lines coming off. I used a putty, plumber's putty, to seal it, and then I also used tape. I used initially just the putty, and I was having really slow leaks, nothing too crazy, but I wasn't happy with it, so I went back, undid it, and then put the tape on there as well, and haven't had any leaks whatsoever. I got all kinds of things hooked up to this air system, and I plan on hooking up 1 more device, and I'll do a video on that once it gets here. But I'm just running T's off of this. This 1/4 inch line. The T's, the kit came with one, but obviously when you see what I do or what I've done, I needed quite a few more, and I just went down to Lowe's, and they sell these 1/4 inch copper tees, and they work just fine. On this first one, I got one of these cables going into the cab that actually is the monitor pressure system, and I'll show you that. And then this one here is running to the front air hose system, and then it's teed off and it's running back to the airbags that I have on the truck. So let's show you the air connectors that I got hooked up first. And when you route it, just be careful with it, make sure you're routing along, and then you can see I put it inside of a conduit there, the plastic conduit, because it's going to be running through some metal pieces up and around and over the hood. So just want to try to protect it. All right, so following the air hose to the front, I got a air connector right here. So just hook up your air hose, fill up tires, fill up whatever, and you're good to go. On the back, because this truck is crazy, like 22 feet long or whatever it is, I ran one to the back too. So that way I don't need tons of air hose. I can hook up front or back. So super convenient, really easy to connect. Just had to drill a larger hole here and then drill through the metal plate and connect them. Same on the front, just drill a hole wherever you want it in the bumper and you're good to go. So let's check out the inside of the cab. All right, so here is where I decided to mount my gauge. So underneath, you can see the air hose is running and connecting to the gauge, and then there's the on-off switch and the light switch. Mine's connected to the actual like running lights, so the light comes on just the same as any of the running lights would come on for the dash or the outside of the car, to be able to see it. How it operates, it's got the on-off switch here, but this is a constant feed, so kind of want a relay between there. And on these trucks it's super easy because lots of upfitter switches. I've got almost all mine used already, but in order for it to operate, I got it hooked to number 4 first, and it's not gonna turn on until I put the keys in it. All right, there you go. So now I've got it hooked to number 4, so that turns the power on to the system, and it gives power to the switch as well. And then click it on, and you can hear it. And this is the single compressor system. It does take a little while if you're going from 0 to the full 200 psi. I have noticed it takes about 5 minutes to get all the way there. Normal operating, it'll hit 200. It's got the automatic shut-off switch that I showed you under there. And then as you use it, I think 165 is the automatic on switch. If the air pressure drops below 165, with the system having power, it'll automatically kick on. All right, so we'll turn it off. And why you don't just want direct power running to here is that automatic switch, if you have power running to it constantly, even if the car is off, it's going to kick on or off and drain your battery. So that's why I have it hooked to my upfitter switch or my relay switch here, because I can turn the overall power off, so it's not going to kick that switch on. All right, and we'll take a quick look under the hood where I ran my wires. On the passenger side, this is where all the wires as well as the air hose that's going into the dash. So like I mentioned, I got 2 wires. I got a constant power, or the power coming from the upfitter switch running down to the relay, and then I have that little on-off switch wire here that hooks it and turns it on and off. And then it runs, I drilled little holes and zip tied it up underneath here to make it clean and out of the way, keep it cool. Hey everyone, I did a terrible job of explaining where all these wires are going while I was recording, so I thought I'd come in and tell you. So the thicker red wire is running to the actual pressure regulator sensor, and it's providing a constant power. That's why I hooked it to the upfitter switch. That smaller red wire does run off that smaller switch that's on next to the gauge inside the cab, and that runs to the regulator as well. That is the on-off switch for the regulator. So I have it hooked to the upfitter because I don't want that constant power going to the regulator and potentially draining the battery. The course correction under the truck, and see that. Let's see if we can see it from here. All right, under the truck, here is the Airlift 5000 Ultimate. You can see how it hooks up. Kind of, there you go. Here's the top portion. It's got a little heat shield on not only the air hose, but on the exhaust. And you can see I got a different, I don't have the stock exhaust on here. It's a larger 5-inch. The kit did come with 2 hose clamps. Neither of those hose clamps fit around that size of exhaust. So what you have to do is just completely open both of those and connect both of those hose clips together, and then it fits around. So it's 2 hose clamps fit together for a total of 4 hose clamps. All right. Let's back up just a little bit and see where the air for this system is coming from. All right, to another T. This line here runs to the back to the air valve that I showed you already, and then this T is the one that runs to the airbags. I ran it through the frame, make sure it's clear, you know, it's not going to hit the exhaust, and it's in the conduit. Let's check out the other side and see where it goes. All right, here we are on the other side, and we have that air hose coming from the T out of the body or the frame bed mount, running this direction, and it goes up, and I have it hooked to a ViAir airlift valve. All right, so there's lots of different ways to do this. I didn't want the electric one, the remote one, all that stuff. I didn't see it necessary. I'm gonna raise or lower the bed of this truck when I'm standing out here so I can see it, and adding and subtracting PSI from the airbags as necessary. So I mounted mine on my headache rack here. This little valve, that's what it is basically. It tells me how much pressure I have in the airbags, and then I can bleed the airbags or add air from here. So the air is coming from the tank. It's running into the pressure gauge and then into the valve. If I want to add air, you just go up. There you go. And if you want to let air out, just push it down. Super simple manual way of doing it. A couple of wires here that I just ran into my my backlightings just to power the light inside there so you can see it at night. But it's super easy. So the air from the tank's running to here, and then it's running from, if I'm filling it up, it's got to go back down through the truck. And that's where, this is the up, this is the down, where this one's going. All right, I got a little water catch here that I bought. This was off Amazon. They were like, it was like 15 bucks. Works fine, mounted to the frame. Same thing as before. I used the plumber's putty, didn't work that great. So then I used the tape, and no leaks. Not a whole lot of water in the system either, as of right now. I'm in the Southwest, so it's super dry here. All right, from there we go to the airbags. Right, it's just a matter of routing it nice and safe to the airbags. Let's go around the back and check how we did that. All right, here we are in the back once again. These are the Airlift 5000 Ultimates, and got the two air hoses. That top one is the one that's coming from that water separator. Running over here to another T. There you go. And then obviously both those sidearm T's go to the two airbags. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple setup. Once you figure out what size connector you need for everything, it's actually pretty easy. Hey guys, what's going on? Brian here from Live, Fix, Love again. I got the diagram portion of my ViAir Ultra Duty onboard air system all drawn out and just wanted to walk you through. So showed you the video walkthrough. A lot easier to understand when it's drawn on to a piece of paper. So let's do a quick orientation of the diagram layout. So this is of a 2017 F350 dually. Here's the front of the vehicle, basically the front bumper. Down here is the back of the vehicle, the back bumper. All right, so starting at the tank, tank mounted along the frame rail here, and then the outside of the truck is here. Air pump mounted here, and then the pressure regulator mounted here. And this is just the diagram of the air connectors, not any of the actual electronic wiring connectors. First thing when I installed this, I hooked up where the air hose is. So air hose running straight out with a front bumper connector as shown in the video. And then one running off of this T here to the rear, so I can connect a air hose to the rear as well. This guy here is running up into the cab. This goes over the through the hood compartment and into the cab, and this is the in-cab pressure gauge. So this is where I can activate the pump and see how much pressure the tank is holding. These here are 1/4 inch T connectors, all three ends, because this is all 1/4 inch line throughout the entire air system. So from here, I got my T running back to the rear air. Off of this one, I made another T to run my airbags. Got it running through the frame rail, make sure I avoid the exhaust, coming up to my headache rack, where I can access and see easily from the back of the truck the Airlift 200 psi single gauge regulator to add or subtract air to the airbags, like it says here. I can monitor how much air is in there. I can put air in or take them out. So it runs into this, and based on how I regulate it with the up-down switch here, then is going to run out into the water trap. I wanted to put a water trap before it went into the airbags, just for my own personal desire. Make sure we're not putting air or water into the bags. So out of the water trap runs into another T, and I kind of centered this between the two bags. I didn't want it too far off left or right. I just centered it. Plus it was directly over the differential, so it was easy to mount. And then just teed off to the airbags themselves. That's pretty much the layout. Straightforward, all 1/4 inch connectors all the way around. What's up guys, that's the video of my ViAir Ultra Duty onboard air system. If you want to match it or do your own thing, depends on your vehicle, up to you obviously, just informative. That's what works for me. Hopefully you find something that works for you. Once again, this is Brian with Live, Fix, Love. If you liked the video, click like. Please subscribe to the channel and I'll keep videos coming.